You also worked as a tracking engineer.
Yep, I was, before I came to Universal 11 years ago, I worked for Sony Pictures for a number of years doing scoring. And before that, I was at Capitol Records in their renowned studios as a recording engineer mixer there for 15 years.
And we spoke about that you have been working together with Al Smith before we started the cameras.
Right.
And you mentioned you'd also been working with Frank Sinatra, and since I'm a Frank Sinatra fan, I would like to speak about that. So can you tell us about the work that you've been doing with Frank Sinatra?
Well, I haven't been doing much with him lately because he's been gone a number of years, but I worked with Al Schmitt, strangely enough, on the 2 Sinatra duets records at Capitol, and that's 1991, so that's over 20 years already. Ouch. Mm-hmm. But they were memorable. That's for damn sure. Among the things that made him so memorable is he was renowned for never wanting to overdub. He was always going to sing live with the band, right? So the first night of the sessions, we had both studios open. We had like strings in Studio B and rhythm and horns in Studio A. And Frank comes down the hallway to the studio, and he walks in and he goes, "What's all this?" You know, like, and Phil Ramone, who was the producer of the record, had to go out there and try to like calm him down, and because he was like a little confused about why he was doing all these songs. You know, I've recorded them a million times. Of course, this was the first record he'd recorded for EMI in 40 years or whatever it was. So they were very anxious about this record. And
what did he expect?
Well, I think he was confused about even why he was there. He was that kind of confused.
Oh.
Right? And so he left the first night. And then we recorded anyway. We're obviously not sending the band home. So we recorded tracks. And then he was to come in the next afternoon and overdub to these tracks. Now, we all know that he's not a big fan of overdubbing, right? So we get him in the booth. We made a booth so he could be out in the midst of the orchestra, and still we would have enough isolation that we could mix vocal takes from different band takes, right? So he's in the booth, and it's like, okay, so which of these $20,000 studio mics am I going to use? Or am I going to use the handheld? And am I going to use the glasses, or am I going to use the teleprompter? If it's the teleprompter, is it white on black or black on white? You know, we're turning over all these rocks, and we finally get him to start overdubbing on the stuff we had recorded the night before. And he's making it very apparent that he doesn't like doing this. So we finally get a couple things.
In what way?
Well, he's not doing a good job.
Okay.
He's not singing well, and he's just kind of letting you know that I don't dig this.
Yeah.
And then the orchestra starts showing up for the evening session. He goes, "Well, I got to be out there with the guys. I can't be in here." And we just spent 3 hours. You know, is it the white on black? Is it the headphones? You know, turning over all these rocks to make him comfortable. And now he says he can't be in here. He's got to be out there with the guys. So the vocal that we used on the record, he's got a handheld wireless SM87, which is probably what he uses live, right? Right next to the piano player with wedges, with a PA in the orchestra.
Wow.
But that's what we did.
But that must have been a little tough to mix his voice then.
Absolutely. We hired his rhythm section because we knew that they would know where he likes the tempo. So if there was, because there's not going to be any click, and if we had to mix and match takes, at least we had his guys who would know where he likes it tempo-wise, so we can mix and match takes. Didn't work.
So did he record the duet things, or did people just come in later?
We did everybody else over ISDN, which is the fiber optic network. So at the time we were recording, we had no idea who was going to be the duet artist on any song, or even what they were going to sing. It wasn't like the lines were mapped out. It's like if you didn't get a good line from Frank Sinatra on that line, I guess we'll have the duet artist do that. That's how basically some of the decisions were made, I'm sure. I've got a crush on you. There's a story that's a fun one to tell. Barbra Streisand ended up doing the duet with him on it. And of course, when she sang her bit, she sang, I've got a crush on you, Francis, you know, to foster the illusion that they're really standing next to one another and singing to each other, which of course they weren't. They did it weeks apart in different places. So Phil Ramone, we drive out to Palm Springs with a little handheld recorder, and we're going to try and get Frank to sing Barbra. Frank, would you sing? He said, hell no, I'm not singing Barbra. Thank you. So we took him saying Barbra, put it in the computer and stretched it and pitched it and flew it in, and that's what we used on the record.
And you left out the hell no.
We left out the hell no.
And like tracking with Frank back in the days, yeah, I guess the System 6000 wasn't invented.
No, I don't think we had it 25 years ago.
But tracking with bands at Capitol, were you at that time using the System 6000?
No, I think the first time I got to use it was, I moved to Sony in '99, and we were using it.
That's when it came out also.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time for this.
My very great pleasure. Please come back and see us again.